Ring in the new year at the all-new Clubhouse Racebook, opening at 11 a.m. More than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. So join us at the all-new Clubhouse Racebook, the Capital Region's new home for racing and sports. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, just off I-90 Exit 5, Albany.
This is the OTB Network.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Racetrack, big weekend for the Florida Breds out at Gulfstream Park and the Cal Breds out at Santana. We will go right now to Gulfstream Park and their Florida Sunshine Millions, the opener with Awesome Feather at odds on in the distaff.
They're off in the distaff. Delightful Mary had the best break. Awesome Feather came out fine, and 'Tis the Argument is sent through inside of those two to grab the lead, and 'Tis the Argument will make the pace as they run into that first turn, and Awesome Feather sits second. Delightful Mary back to third after a sharp start. Sweet Repents on her outside, and at the rail it's My Pal Chrissy. Perfect Embrace trails 6.5 lengths off the lead as 'Tis the Argument and Awesome Feather go at it right away through a 23-2 opening quarter. 'Tis the Argument's a neck in front. Awesome Feather sticks to her second on the outside by 4. Delightful Mary follows in third. And then it's Sweet Repent in fourth, followed by My Pal Chrissy, and Perfect Embrace is well behind. Up the backstretch, 'Tis the Argument streaking away now with Awesome Feather, and these two are now 5 in front of the rest. Delightful Mary is in third, and then it's Sweet Repent and My Pal Chrissy. 46-3 was the half mile. It's been 'Tis the Argument and Awesome Feather, and they've been together all the way so far. Awesome Feather draws up right alongside of her. They're on even terms as they go into the turn. Awesome Feather pokes her neck in front. Now 'Tis the Argument comes under a ride to stick with her. Awesome Feather still in hand. Delightful Mary's going to try to make a race of it, and here she comes. And here she comes boldly on the outside as she storms into second. And Awesome Feather is the one to catch. 3/4 went in 1:10-4. And they're into the stretch. And Awesome Feather kicks away just like that. She's opened up a 4-length lead. Delightful Mary is next. And then comes Sweet Repent on the outside. Past the 16th pole, it is Awesome Feather. Perfectly awesome. Delightful Mary was second. Sweet Repent was third. And My Pal Chrissy fourth.
Well, for me, ladies and gentlemen, as Awesome Feather is now 9 for 9, closing in on $2 million. This was the best she ever was. I thought she was in deep water going 9 furlongs, 46 and change, 110 and change. It looked like Jeffrey Sanchez, who's been aboard for all 9 winning efforts, was scrubbing on Awesome Feather and that she was going to be in deep water, especially with Sweet Repent. But, folks, she was very, very impressive on Saturday to win by nearly 6 lengths coming off of her Grade 1 victory in the Gazelle on Thanksgiving weekend. Up next, we have the Filly and Mare Sprint. Very surprising. In the morning line odds, the champion Musical Romance was 5-2, and the recently turned 4-year-old Pomeroy's Pistol was 3-1. But, boy, when the wagering windows opened up, Pomeroy's Pistol, the 9-5 favorite.
They're off. And a fast start for Honeychild. There goes It's Me Mom rushing through on the inside now to grab the lead, and Pomeroy's Pistol is away running in third. To the outside, Beat the Blues is fourth. Derwin Star fifth along the rail. Musical Romance finds a spot there in sixth. 6 lengths off the lead, and 4 clear of Indulgence the trailer as they blaze by the half-mile pole. That opening quarter was in 22-1. And it's Me Mom and Willie Martinez out there by 2.5 lengths. Honey Child is second. Pomeroy's Pistol third at the rail. She's 4 lengths off the lead right now. And then it's Beat the Blues, Derwin Star, Musical Romance still second last. Musical Romance is 7 lengths off the lead. Oh, she's not going on here. She's been passed by Indulgence on the outside, and they're coming to the top of the stretch, and it's Me Mom ran a 44 and 2.5 mile, and she's got a 5-length lead at the 8th pole. It's Me Mom has run away from them. And then it's Honey Child in second, followed by Indulgence. Musical Romance is taken fourth. Pomeroy's Pistol didn't fire today. It's Me Mom romps home. Very close for second, maybe Honey Child. Indulgence right there too. And Musical Romance finished fourth.
And kudos to the bettors who made It's Me Mom the second choice in the wagering, breaking from the rail. And as you saw, It's Me Mom, you know, not scintillating out of the gate, but boy, scintillating in the opening quarter mile. Fifth at the start, but up 2+ lengths, and they tripped the quarter mile teletimer. She returned $6.80 with a very, very easy victory under Willie Martinez. Now time for the Florida Sunshine Million Sprint. A Priority, the 9-5 favorite.
They're off in the sprint. Royal Courier is going to the front. Madman Diaries goes with him, and these two speed off by 3 over Soaring Stock's Zero Rate Policy, and A Priority who's next on the outside. Rebo Bobo and Cajun Breeze after that. It's Never Too Late has been outrun early and is 10 lengths off of front-running Royal Courier, who runs by the opening quarter in 22 seconds flat and leads it by 2 lengths over Madman Diaries. Soaring Stocks follows them in third. A Priority is fourth. He's 5 lengths off the lead, and Zero Rate Policy is right alongside of him. Then Cajun Breeze, Rebo Bobo, and it's Never Too Late. It is Royal Courier, a length and a half in front of Madman Diaries and Soaring Stocks. Zero Rate Policy swings out, and a very wide run for A Priority. The half and 44 flat, they're into the stretch. Royal Courier, Soaring Stocks closing in. It is still Royal Courier, Soaring Stocks on the outside. These two, Soaring Stocks, Royal Courier, Cajun Breeze, also coming late, but it's Soaring Stocks. Soaring Stocks won it over Cajun Breeze and Royal Courier, and then either it's Never Too Late or Zero Rate Policy.
Well, Todd Pletcher, Mrs. Robsham, John Velasquez won't be the last time we say those names. They score the mild upset victory. Actually, at $11, Soaring Stocks was the 4th choice in the wagering. I like Cajun Breeze coming off of the maiden victory, and at better than 18-1 finished a good second. I thought Royal Courier trying to make every pole a winning one as the second choice checks in third. And A Priority, the 9-5 favorite, beats only 1 horse while finishing 7th. Up next, time to go to the turf course. The Fillies and Mares on the turf. Romacaka, the 3-2 favorite.
They're off in the Filly and Mare turf. And it is Speakeasy Gal who sprints out to the front with Roma Kaka away running in second. Unbridled Humor came out third, and then Huai and Zapparition, Roman Robin outside of Trip for AJ, and in the back of the field earlier Ask But I Won't Tell and Ventenia. It's Speakeasy Gal and Roma Kaka leading the way to the first turn, and these two are clear from the others. They're moving along at a solid pace here, 4 in front of Unbridled Humor. That first quarter was 23-2, and now it's a lonely lead for Speakeasy Gal. She's 2 in front. Roma Kaka is going to sit just off of her in second. Unbridled Humor follows third by another 2. Huai is fourth. After that comes Zapparition in fifth, 6.5 lengths off the lead. Then Roman Robin outside of Ventenia. Ask But I Won't Tell and Trip for AJ last, 47-3 the half mile. Speakeasy Gal up the backstretch with Roma Kaka closer now. She's only a half length behind and still hard held. Unbridled Humor 2.5 lengths off of them. Huai is in fourth. Then Ventenia, Ask But I Won't Tell, Zapparition, Roman Robin, and Trip for AJ is at the back of the field. 3/4 in 1:11-2 around the far turn. Speakeasy Gal, Roma Kaka right after her. Unbridled Humor comes 3 wide. Huai behind the leaders in fourth. Ventania rides the rail in fifth, and they're into the stretch. Speakeasy Gal and Roma Kaka. These two into mid-stretch, stride for stride. Who-Why is closing in. It's Roma Kaka, Speakeasy Gal. Who-Why on the far outside, closing with a rush. And Who-Why and John Velasquez get up in time. Roma Kaka was second. Unbridled Humor was third, and Speakeasy Gal was fourth.
Coming off the second place finish in the South Beach most recently at 17-1, John Velasquez scores the $37.40 upset victory in the Philly Ameriturf, defeating the 3-2 favorite Roma Kaka and Speakeasy Gal under Elvis Trio, not able to make every polo, winning one at 15-1, but a very, very nice job by Who-Why, and it seems like so very long ago, Who-Why was upsetting Stardom Bound in the Grade 1 Ashland Stakes. Now time for the Florida Sunshine Millions Turf. Dale Roman sending out the 8-5 favorite, Little Mike.
And they're all in line. They're off in the turf, and Little Mike goes right out to take the early lead. A slow start for Roman Tiger. Little Mike will make the pace. Beckham Bend away second, and then Slew's Answer to the inside. Teeks North is fourth early, 3 lengths off of Little Mike. And then it's Livingston Street, followed by Bad Debt, Bell by the Ridge, and Roman Tiger is the trailer, as Little Mike and Joe Bravo lead the charge into the first turn. Little Mike on top by a length and a half. Beckham Bend second to the outside, and down at the rail in third is Slew's Answer. That first quarter was in 23 and 3/5 seconds. On the outside of them is Teeks North. He's fourth right now, 2.5 lengths off the lead. Then it's a length and a half more back to Bad Debt. Livingston Street is after that. And in the back of the field are Bell by the Ridge and Roman Tiger, who's 9 lengths behind. Little Mike up the backstretch, a length and a half over Beckham Bend. Teeks North and Slew's Answer right behind. The half mile was an easy one, 48 seconds flat. And then it's Bad Debt, Livingston Street. And they're followed by Bell by the Ridge, who's 6 lengths off the lead. Roman Tiger is the trailer. Little Mike scampers into the far turn with a 2-length lead. He's been there all the way so far. Beckham Bend is second. On the inside, Slew's Answer. Teeks North fourth to the outside. Behind the leaders, Bad Debt is next. 3/4 went in 1:11 and 3. And Little Mike makes his way to the top of the stretch in front. Slew's Answer taken off the rail to run after him. Teeks North has to do better. Bad Debt's trying to get going. It's Little Mike to catch. A furlong to run. Little Mike by a length and a half. Slew's Answer second. He's trying to close in. It's Little Mike. And Slew's Answer coming to the wire. Little Mike ran huge in the turf. Slew's Answer was second. Bad Debt was third. Livingston Street fourth.
And congratulations to Dale Romans and Joe Bravo. I mean, Dale Romans, off the 8.5-month layoff, came back and scored a victory in the optional claiming race about 5 weeks before the Sunshine Millions. That's usually a big spot for a regression for me, but Joe Bravo put Little Mike on the front and made every step a winning one, ladies and gentlemen. Looked like he was pressured a little bit late, but had something left. Now 5 for 6 lifetime on the turf at Gulfstream Park, and in 11 starts on the turf is 9-5-1 and 1 off the board. That was in the Gulfstream Park handicap last season. Slew's Answer finishing second with Bad Debt third. Now time for the Florida Sunshine Millions Classics, and apparently far fewer folks had a question about Adios Charlie getting the distance of ground and 2 turns, as they made him the 8-5 favorite.
Going in, they're all in line. They're off in the Classic. Turbo Compressor and Adios Charlie right out for the lead, and Mucho Macho Man is right on their outside in the race to the first turn. And then it's Duke of Mischief saving ground, Ron the Greeks on the far outside, and Dream Maestro and Decaf again trail the field as Turbo Compressor leads the way early. Mucho Macho Man 3/4 of a length behind. Adios Charlie third to the inside. Ron the Greek is in fourth, and he's 2.5 lengths off the lead. That first quarter went in 24 and 1. Duke of Mischief is fifth as they enter the backstretch. He's got 5 lengths to make up. Then Dream Maestro and Decaf again is the trailer. Turbo Compressor leads the charge up the backstretch by a length, with Mucho Macho Man, Ron the Greek, and Adios Charlie keeping him close company. Duke of Mischief travels well in fifth right now. He's 5 lengths off the lead. And then it's Dream Maestro, and the trailer is Decaf again. A 48 flat half mile. There's a half mile to go. And Turbo Compressor is the leader. Mucho Macho Man turning up the heat on the outside. Now they're a half length apart. Adios Charlie being ridden to keep up with them. He's dropped back. Passed now by Ron the Greek. Duke of Mischief's also under a ride. And Mucho Macho Man has taken the lead. He's in front, coming to the top of the stretch. Turbo Compressor back into second on the rail. And then it's Ron the Greek. And they're into the stretch. And it's Ramon Dominguez and Mucho Macho Man coming to the 8th pole clear from Turbo Compressor. Ron the Greek is closing on the outside. Mucho Macho Man to catch. Ron the Greek is taken second. Turbo Compressor third. Mucho Macho Man did it! And then it was Ron the Greek, Turbo Compressor, and Duke of Mischief.
The second week in a row, ladies and gentlemen, on Horses and Courses, we've had a June foal win a stakes race. I mean, first off, there are very few June foals in the world of thoroughbred racing, but Kathy Ritvo, coming 79 days off winning the rarely seen condition in New York, a non-winners of 3 other than back in early November, makes it 2 in a row, winning the Gulfstream Park Classic on the second choice. Ramon Dominguez scores the victory. Ron the Greek finishes second, with Turbo Compressor, the pace setter, checking in third. But terrific job by Kathy Ritvo. I mean, Mucho Macho Man had danced so many dances through the spring and the early the winter and the spring. Got some time off, came back in the early part of November at Aqueduct, scored rather impressively, and follows that up nearly 80 days later with a victory in the Sunshine Millions class. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we have 2 open company stakes races for 3-year-olds on Sunday from Gulfstream. We have a stop down at Turfway Park, Oaklawn, and Sam Houston. Welcome back to Horses and Courses, ladies and gentlemen. They had 2 stakes races, open company variety, for the 3-year-olds on Sunday afternoon at Gulfstream Park. Up first will be the 3-year-old filly sprinting 7 furlongs in the Forward Gal, Broadway's Alibi, the 6-5 favorite.
They're all in line. They're racing in the Forward Gal. Broadway's Alibi and Sacristy out well. On the far outside, Saya Novena and Yara close up too. Down on the rail comes Good Deed, and Quick Flip is last. Up the backstretch they go, and Broadway's Alibi will be the pacemaker. Saya Novena, length and a half behind. Yara third to the inside. Now Quick Flip splits horses and takes fourth. On the rail, it's Good Deed, and Sacristy is right there too. And racing only about 4 lengths off the lead as they head toward the half-mile pole, 22-1. The opening quarter mile for Broadway's Alibi, who leads the way into the far turn. John Velasquez and Broadway's Alibi a length in front of Sayanovina. Yara next on the inside. Then it's Sacristy, Quick Flip. And last of all is Good Deed as they make their way toward the top of the stretch. It is still Broadway's Alibi who ran a 44 and 4 half mile. On top by 2. The whip has come out on Sayanovina. Sacristy's got 4 lengths to make up and they're into the stretch. And Broadway's Alibi turns it on. Opening up from her competition, she's 8 in front. Broadway's Alibi pulling away. She's 10 lengths in front. She's 12 in front. Broadway's Alibi streaking home in the forward gal. Complete domination over Sayanovina's Sacristy and Yara.
Poppy Sealed Racetrack, Broadway's Alibi makes it 3 victories in a row after losing the career debut, broke the maiden by 7, won an allowance by 5, now wins in Stakes Company, Grade 2 Stakes Company by nearly 17 lengths on a sloppy sealed racetrack. Be interested to see what buyer speed figure, what performance number Broadway's Alibi receives, and whether she's able to ever repeat it in her career. And coming out of an exacta on opening day, Sayanovina and Sacristy, they finish well behind in Sunday's forward gal. Now time for the 3-year-old Colts to race the 1-turn mile in the Holy Bull. Hanson, coming off his 3-for-3 Juvenile Championship season, is the 9-10 favorite.
They're racing in the Holy Bowl, and Hanson took a bit of a stumble coming out of the gate. It is Algorithms on the outside, out for the lead. Hanson's going to go with him after a bobble at the beginning. And then it's Silver Max away running in third to the inside. After that comes Fort Loudon Consortium and My Adonis. And now Hanson is the leader. And he moves away to a 2.5 length early advantage over Algorithms and Silver Max, and ran a quarter in 23 and 3/5 seconds. Then it's Fort Loudon in fourth. He's 5 lengths off the lead. Consortium next on the outside, and My Adonis is well behind. Hanson moving up the backstretch with a 3-length lead. Silver Max, Algorithms to the outside. Consortium moves up alongside of Fort Loudon. My Adonis far behind, 45 and 3 the half mile. Hanson leads the charge on the far turn. It's now a 2.5 length lead. Silver Max and Algorithms right behind him and edging up closer now. Consortium is fourth. Fort Loudon under a full-out drive as Hanson arrives at the quarter pole. He's in front by a length. Algorithms moves after him now. Silver Max is next. 3/4 in 1, 10 and 1. They're into the stretch, and Algorithms moves up alongside of Hanson. Algorithms moves by Hanson. Algorithms is pulling away from Hanson. And My Adonis has rallied up late on the outside. It is Algorithms and Javier Castellano winning the Holy Bull. Hanson holds on for second. My Adonis was third. Fort Loudon finished fourth.
Algorithms 3-for-3 now. Second race off the June 3rd debut at Belmont Park. Folks, my math tells me getting the winner's share of this $400,000 purse, $240,000. Starlight Racing and Don Lucarelli, they have punched their ticket to the Kentucky Derby if it works out. February, March, and April will just be a training exercise because I believe they have the cash to guarantee themselves a spot in the starting gate on this victory. Now, by Bernardini out of a crypto clearance mare, the mud marks are there for me, the sloppy sealed racetrack. Whole lot of talent in there. J.J. Castellano aboard for the 5-length victory. Hanson, first start since the Breeders' Cup in his 4th career race, stumbled out of the gate. Made the front rather comfortably. I didn't think offered much resistance off of the freshening from Mike Maker. We'll see how he comes back. And My Adonis last early, checks in third, Sunday's Holy Bull Stakes. Saturday at Turfway Park, they ran the Forgo. Matthewsburg, the 5-2 favorite.
Is acting up in the gate, and Hollywood Hit missed the break again. For the lead from the outside, that's past the Crown, also Tend. Then moving up from between horses, Hollywood Hit. Through from the inside, that's Plutonium. Kind Regards on the rail. very well bunched on the run down the back stretch. Plutonium has a head in front. Up between horses in second, that's Live from Apollo. Then on the outside, Hollywood Hit third by a head. Up in the center of the track, it's Unsaddled Glory fourth, 10 now runs a fifth. They're moving into the turn, and Unsaddled Glory comes away with the lead, now by a length and a half. 10 gains ground from second. Then between horses, Hollywood Hit third, through from the inside. Live from Apollo right there in fourth. Here's Matthewsburg and Granddaddy, both gaining ground on the outside. Granddaddy in the center of the track with Matthewsburg and Tend. Late run from Dynamite Bob. Tend on the inside, Matthewsburg. Granddaddy on the outside. Granddaddy wins it by a head. Photo for second. Tend and Matthewsburg, then Dynamite Bob.
And Granddaddy scores the victory at nearly 9-1 fourth. In last year's Forgo does appreciably better this Saturday afternoon. If you looked at the charts, it looked like the speed runners really had little to no chance. And I'll mention, as Mike Battaglia did, Hollywood Hit, who was the second choice at better than 5-2. Just read the comments in the forum. Fractious in the gate, came away unprepared and was slow, and then rushed up, and no surprise after that early start to the race, drops back to finish 10th, only beating 2 horses with perhaps a legitimate excuse. And Tend, who won last year's Forgo, went off at 11-1 in the photo. And Matthewsburg, ridden by Victor LeBrun, the old jock for Hanson, checks in third as the 5-2 favorite. But Granddaddy, returning a good year for American hockey, 1980 in the Forgo. Up next, we're going to go to Oaklawn Park Saturday afternoon. They had the King Cotton Stakes and the even money favorite coming out of the Breeders' Cup Sprint, Amazing Destiny.
And they're off. Agastache flew out of the gate. Riley Tucker has plenty of early zip, and in between them, it's Amazing Destiny. Those three hook up early. Wild Jacob fourth through the opening furlong, and no early speed from River Bear. He'll have to come from last. 7 lengths front to back, down the back stretch they go. It's Riley Tucker on the inside by a neck with Amazing Destiny right there with him. 2 more back to Agastache, now third. Wild Jacob is fourth, 3.5 lengths off the lead, and another 3 back to River Bear. They're heading to the 3 furlong point, and Riley Tucker maintains a slim advantage with Amazing Destiny ahead back second. 3 more to Agastache third. Now River Bear gets a cue. He's moving up just a bit on the inside of Wild Jacob. They're approaching the quarter pole. Amazing Destiny now puts his neck in front. Riley Tucker fully extended, trying to battle back second. Agastache third. River Bear, red blinkers fourth. They're heading to the furlong pole. Riley Tucker's not done. He comes right back on the inside of Amazing Destiny. Just behind them, it's River Bear in third. They're coming to the 16th pole, and Riley Tucker's running a big one. Amazing Destiny a neck back second, followed by Agastache. It's Riley Tucker, and Riley Tucker was sharp in the King Cotton. He wins by a length and a half. Amazing Destiny second. River Bear finished third.
The 7-year-old Riley Tucker seems like he's been around horses and courses, well, for nearly 5 years. One of the first horses I remember for Zayat Stables, and with their very memorable silk, scores the upset victory in the 38th start. Clifton Berry scores the victory from the number 1 hole, Amazing Destiny. The even money favorite finishes second under Terry Thompson, and River Bear checks in third as the second choice at 9-5. But Riley Tucker, for Steve Asmussen, at 7 years of age, scores a victory in the King Cotton. Now we get a chance to visit Sam Houston Racetrack, ladies and gentlemen, in time to run the John, named after the former governor of Texas, John Connolly.
And runners away in the Conley Turf Cup. And music came off nicely with Papa Bodie right there. And Dakota Gypsy racing right with the leaders. Little Wagons next. Just back of that and to the outside, Proceed B far outside. I Owe You Big Time circling up as they head before the grandstand on their first occasion with 1 lap to go on the grass oval in the Conley Turf Cup. And racing stride for stride Along the inside, it's Little Wagon with a short lead. I Owe You Big Time is right there from the outside. Back to Papa Bodie, and Music Came with a ground-saving trip to the inside, racing 3 off the lead. Proceed B is 2 off the inside rail up to the outside by 2.5. Then it's back to Dakota Gypsy, and trailing the field is Colonel Wright. They straighten up for the backstretch run in the Conley. On the inside, it's Little Wagon to lead it by a neck. Right there is I Owe You Big Time, and those two move as one. Length more to Proceed B, closing in the outside from between horses. Papa Bodie and Music Came is still in the mix right there. Dakota Gypsy has room at the inside. There's 2.5 to Colonel Wright in the tail of the pack. And Music Came shuffles off to the back now. They're midway round the turn. And from the inside, it's Little Wagon. I Owe You Big Time is there. Proceed B from the outside. They round the turn and run for home in the Conley Turf Cup. Homeward bound now. Dakota Gypsy from the inside is there to fight it out from between horses. Little Wagon is still in the mix, and Proceed B coming on with every stride from the outside. Papa Bodie excels late, and Papa Bodie in front wins the Conley Turf Cup.
Well, Paul Bodie was clearly in front when the announcer picked him up. Rosie and the Praverick spitting horses on the 6-5 favorite. And it seems as if in a victory performance, we have Michael Maker on every single week going back to September. Paul Bodie now 4 in a row. 2-back claim from Paul McGee for $50,000. First time down at Sam Houston Racetrack is a 1 3/4 length, $4.60 victory for Paul Bodie. Proceed B and Little Wagon completing the Saturday evening trifecta. Ladies and gentlemen, up next after the break, we'll have 6 from Santa Anita, including the Grade 1 Santa Monica, and a pair from Saturday afternoon at the Big A. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 6 to bring you from Santa Anita. Up first, Open Company, 3-year-old fillies in the Santa Isabel. Charm the Maker, even money.
He'll sent on their way. Charm the Maker bobbled a little at the start, is off slowly. Along the inside, Battalla comes out quickly, but Willoughby Awesome wants the lead, and Willoughby Awesome is sent along to take over. Then it's Killer Graces. Now Charm the Maker is going to be hooked a little wide into the turn, and Lady of Shamrock at the back. 5 lengths would cover the lot. Past the 7/8 they go, and Willoughby Awesome went quickly early, opens up to lead by 2. Battalla content to sit there in second. Then we come back to Killer Graces in the 3rd spot. Down at the rail, Lady of Shamrock, 4 lengths off the leaders, and at the back is Charm the Maker. Onto the backstretch they go, and Willoughby Awesome just rated on the lead now, still takes them along by just under a length. In second, Battalla. Then it's a 1.5 lengths back to Lady of Shamrock. On the far side is Killer Graces, and still the trailer is Charm the Maker. She's now 6 off the leader. Past a half mile, and Willoughby Awesome kicks away again. Willoughby Awesome sets sail for home now, leads by just over 2. Battalla is back in the 2nd spot. Lady of Shamrock at the rail. Killer Graces 4th. Charm the Maker still 5 off the leader. They come into the quarter pole, and it is still Willa Be Awesome, now opened up more, leads it by 3 lengths. Killer Graces makes an early run. Lady of Shamrock on the inside, but Tala did not go on with it, and now Charm the Maker starts her run, making up ground from 4th. Homeward bound, and Willa Be Awesome sneaked away and goes on, leads by 2.5 lengths, chased now by Killer Graces. But it's Willa Be Awesome still clear with a 16 to go. Killer Graces making no impression. And Willa Be Awesome, smartly ridden by Martine Pedrosa, will take the Santa Isabel. Willa Be Awesome, Killer Graces second, then Lady of Shamrock, Charm the Maker, and Batalla was last.
Willa Be on the board, returning 24-20, ladies and gentlemen, under Martine Pedrosa. And I'll tell you, Willa Be Awesome just went to the front, improved the position from there. Not quite able to get the Sharp Cats stakes record, but pushed it very well. 141.73, going a mile and a 16th on Saturday. Killer Grace is a non-threatening second. Lady of Shamrock third. Charm the Maker, trouble at the start, checks in 4th as the favorite. Now time for the California style Sunshine Millions. This is going to be the 16th running of the sensational star, Campari Even Money.
And away they go. All came out well. On the inside, Ain't No Other setting off for the early lead. On the far side, My Summer Slew, Red Defense on the extreme outside. The favourite Campari going to drop into 4th, just 3 lengths off the leaders. And then is another 3 back to Tamarack Smarty. They head to the half-mile pole, and Ain't No Other in front to half a length. My Summer Slew's right there second. Campari now pretty keen to go on, has taken a joint third alongside of Red Defense. Only 2 lengths covers those 4, and then 3 back to Tamarack Smarty. Down the hill they come. My Summer Slew goes up to join Ain't No Other. Those 2 stride for stride. 2 clear now of Campari and Red Defense, and then a gap of 3.5 back to Tamarack Smarty. They come to the top of the lane, and it is Ain't No Other on the inside. My Summer Slew. These 2 been stride for stride from the opening of the gate. Campari's got a dream run through if he's good enough. In behind those 2 comes Red Defense. They come for home. Ain't No Other, but Campari now sees that hole and takes off with 1/8 of a mile to go. And Campari strikes the front in full flight for the wire. My Summer Slew, Ain't No Other ran game ones, but Campari was too good. And Campari and Mike Smith have taken the sensational star, My Summer Slew, and then it's Ain't No Other right alongside of Red Defense.
And as often is the case, going down the hill 6.5 furlongs about, coming from off the pace, scores the victory for Campari at Even Money. Now 6 for 7 lifetime on Sunny to Turf, but as an offspring of Redditori, it's usually at a mile distance, middle distance, but turf, but comes down the hill sprinting. My Summer Slew finishes second, with Red Defense checking in third. Back to the dirt, mile and a 16th to Crystal Water, 9 to 5, 31st Street.
And away they go. All came out smoothly. From the inside, Legal Separation setting off for the lead, but being pushed along as Bluegrass Reward, and on the outside, Macho Dorado. They're absolutely sprinting into the turn. 31st Street is taken back to 4th. Then there's a gap of 4 back to Spud Spivens, and Holiday Road quite content to drop back last 10 lengths off the leaders. Around the turn they go, and Bluegrass Reward on a loose rein out here being allowed to run along. Up alongside is Mucho Dorado. They couldn't be going any quicker. They've opened up now to lead by almost 5. Legal Separation doesn't want any part of that, taken back into the 3rd spot. Here's 31st Street, a comfortable 4th, a good 8 lengths off those leaders. 2 more to Spud Spivens, and last of all is Holiday Road. They head to the half-mile pole, and Bluegrass Reward along the inside, and Macho Dorado, they still stride for stride and clear by 5. Legal Separation third, then 31st Street. Now Holiday Road, the first one to make a run after those leaders. Holiday Road coming through at the rail to take third. Spud Spivens last, 8 off the leaders. 3/8 of a mile to go, and these first two slowing down noticeably now. Macho Dorado on the far side. Bluegrass Reward losing ground at the rail. In behind that comes Holiday Road coming to take them on. Spud Spivens moving in, 31st Street, and then Legal Separation at the top of the lane now, and Macho Dorado's Game. He's hanging on to this lead. On the outside, Holiday Road coming home gamely. Spud Spivens plugging away from the third spot. They are homeward bound, and Holiday Road now gets the lead with a 16th to go. Macho Dorado ran a game one today, but Holiday Road just took it. And Holiday Road and Rafael Bejarano draw clear to beat Macho Dorado. Spud Spivens third, and then 31st Street.
And Holiday Road, the 7-year-old, making only the 13th start, the second choice in the wagering, scores the victory. Macho Dorado, a very, very sharp performance, wins the battle, loses the war, up on the pace of 22-1, 44-4, 109-1 on a fast racetrack. Does hold on to finish second. Spud Spivens finishes third, and the 9-5 favorite, 31st Street, checks in fourth. But Julio Canani sends out Holiday Road for the score. Up next, the Valentine Dancer, 8 furlongs on the turf. Halo Dolly, 8-5.
Sent on their way, they all came out smoothly. California Nectar wants the early lead and will sprint clear early. Secret Cove is along the inside in the center. Halo Dolly going up to join them. Ontari's World is right there too. Then we come back to Bench Glory, settling down in the 5th position. Behind that, Choke Cherry Mary. Warren's Got Game gives them 9-length start. Into the turn they go, and California Nectar sets a decent pace along the inside. In the second spot is Halo Dolly, now tucking in behind that leader, and Terry's World a comfortable third. Then there's a gap of 3 lengths back to Secret Cove in the 4th spot. Behind that comes Bench Glory in the green, now a good 6 off that leader. It's another 2.5 back to Choke Cherry Mary, and Warren's Got Game, the trailer. 10 lengths would cover the lot. They run past the half-mile pole, and California Nectar in front by a length. Halo Dolly's taken a strong hold in second, wants to go on. Back in the 3rd spot comes Antari's World. They've been followed by Secret Cove, Bench Glory at the rail, now 5 off the leader. Then we come back to Choke Cherry Mary, and Warren's Got Game. 7 lengths would now cover the lot. They come into the top of the lane, and it is still California Nectar the leader, but now Halo Dolly breathing down his neck in second, and Halo Dolly can wait no more. Halo Dolly strikes the front and is sent on for home. Antari's World. Choke Cherry Mary is running on in the center of the track. Secret Cove coming home gamely too. California Nectar's battling on gamely on the inside. Halo Dolly now under pressure. Here comes Choke Cherry Mary with a late run. Secret Cove on the outside. Choke Cherry Mary flying. Choke Cherry Mary to get up. Choke Cherry Mary in a thriller. California Nectar was second, close for third. Halo Glory and Secret Cove.
4 horses in the photo finish. Choke Cherry Mary, though, with Corey Nakatani, scores the $18.80 upset, with California Nectar finishing second, Secret Cove finishing third, and as the 8-5 favorite, Halo Dolly, who looked to be in good position, though, finishes off the board as the 8-5 favorite in the Valentine Dancer. Open Company, the older fillier mares, sprinting 7 furlongs in the Grade 1 Santa Monica. Rumor, the 2-1 favorite.
And away they go. Teddy's Promise was off just a little awkwardly, but quickly recovers, and Teddy's Promise coming through to take the second spot. Meanwhile, the leader's Home Sweet Aspen. Home Sweet Aspen, Rumor, Sugar in the Morning. Teddy's Promise right there in the 4th spot now. Big Tiz back in 5th. Been followed by Bella Diamante, and She's Cheeky as last. 6 lengths would cover the lot. They head to the 5/8, and Rumor between horses, not getting any breathers though. Rumor's getting pressure from Home Sweet Aspen. Sugar in the Morning on the far side. Teddy's Promise has now caught them and is pretty keen to go on, fighting for a head in the 4th spot. Then we come back to Big Tiz, who's 4 lengths off the leaders. Bella Diamante second last, and She's Cheeky 6 off them. They've taken closer order now. 3/8 of a mile to go, and Home Sweet Aspen, narrow leader. Rumor is right there. Teddy's Promise moves into contention in the orange Sugar in the Morning on the far side. Now here's Big Tiz with an early run wide out, and Big Tiz makes good ground. Big Tiz caught 5 wide, but coming to take them on. And She's Cheeky's moving wide and coming fast too. Wide open. Home Sweet Amsterdam. Teddy's Promise can't get through at the rail. Sugar in the Morning in the red cap. Big Tiz, She's Cheeky on the outside, still wide open. Sugar in the Morning. Home Sweet Aspen on the inside. These two kick on with it. Home Sweet Aspen and Sugar in the Morning. Nose and nose. Home Sweet Home. Sugar in the Morning. Home Sweet Aspen won it. Home Sweet Aspen. Sugar in the Morning second. She's Cheeky third, and Big Tiz was fourth.
As good a performance as you will see in this game by Home Sweet Aspen and Joel Rosario down inside. It looked like the Caravan was coming to overrun her in the Santa Monica, but she had an answer and a response and scores the $13.60 victory. John Sadler sent out the winner with Joel Rosario. They won last year with Switch, who ran faster and paid less, but a big-time performance from down inside. Home Sweet Aspen had drawn the rail in the La Brea, finished off the board, but answers with the victory 29 days later in the Santa Monica. Sugar in the Morning, runner-up in the La Brea, finishes second. And Sweet Cheeky, off the August 21st layoff, finishes third. Sunday afternoon, one stakes race to bring you from the great race place. The Wishing Well at 7 to 10, Unzip Me.
A catchy tune standing a little awkward in the gate. Settles down. And away they go. All came out well. On the far side, Taroda is going off for the front, and alongside Unzip Me in the green cap. Inside of them is Win for Me Lou in the white. Catchy Tune now joins them up front. At the rail, Javine is right behind them. Fifth Commandment's in there, and Al Special. Only 4 lengths covers all those runners. And last of all is Remit. They run to the half-mile pole, and Catchy Tune now takes a narrow advantage. Win for Me Lou in second. Gavine right there at the rail. Unzip Me in the green cap, only a length and a half off them. Alongside of that comes Hell Special. Then we come back to Taroda in the pink colours, who's now 4 off the leaders. Fifth Commandment second last, and Remit is getting a little closer from behind. They come into the top of the lane. Catchy Tune along the inside. Unzip Me in the green cap now coming to tackle. Win for Me Lou is in there as well. Shavine at the rail needs somewhere to run. Alongside of that comes Al Special. Running on late is Remit extreme outside. They come for home, and Unzip Me is let loose now, and Unzip Me strikes the front. Coming home gamely as Taroda on the outside. Remit is chasing gamely. Javine along the inside. Javine coming late at Unzip Me. Unzip Me, Javine, Taroda late. Unzip Me. Unzip Me keeps them all at bay. Wins it a half a length. Unzip Me to Taroda. Remit was third, and Javine right there fourth.
Unzip Me, who is now 7 for 11 lifetime on the Santa Anita turf, has been the chalk in the last 14 starts, excluding the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint back in 2010. Scores the $3.40 victory for Rafael Bejarano and Marty Jones, who had a winning weekend. Taroda finishes second, with Remit finishing third. 2 stakes races to bring you from Saturday afternoon at the Big A. Up first, rescheduled from last Saturday when racing was canceled at the Big A, the 93rd running of the evening attire, I Want Revenge, 4 to 5.
And they're off. Redding Collieri goes out for the lead. I Want Revenge broke well, running in second. Heart Butte is in third. Jiminator fourth. The early trailer will be Thunderball. They race for the clubhouse turn, and it's Redding Collieri on top here, with I Want Revenge giving chase in second. Heart Butte down at the rail in third, and Jiminator is fourth. Now it's almost 5 lengths back to Thunderball, who trails after an opening quarter mile in 23 and 4/5 seconds. They're on the backstretch, and Redding Collieri is setting the pace here and leads now by 2. I Want Revenge, the odds-on favorite, is in second. To his inside is Heart Butte in third. A length and a half to Jiminator, and 4 more to Thunderball. They continue up the backstretch. Redding Collieri ran a half in 47 and 4. Redding Collieri by a length over I Want Revenge. Heart Butte runs in third, 3 lengths off the lead. On the outside is a Jiminator, and farther back is Thunderball as they move around the far turn. Reading Collieri by a head. I Want Revenge now draws right alongside. I Want Revenge on the outside of Reading Collieri, and just behind those two, Heart Butte and Jiminator. 3/4 in, 1, 11 and 3, and they're in the stretch. I Want Revenge battling with Reading Collieri. Reading Collieri at the rail. I Want Revenge bearing out a bit there in the stretch. Reading Collieri has the lead over I Want Revenge. Then it's Heart Butte and Jiminator Thunderball at the back. It's going to be Reading Collieri, the gray, to win the evening attire. I Want Revenge second, and Jiminator was third.
Reading Collieri, the second choice, returns $6.90 for victory. I Want Revenge, 14th start for this 6-year-old, 6th since his last win in the 2009 Wood Memorial. Jiminator finishes third. 3-year-old fillies up next in the affectionately at 9 to 10, Love and Pride.
And they're off. Love and Pride and Indian Burn go out for the lead. It's Love and Pride by a head. Indian Burn right there on the outside in second. Those two have opened up 3 lengths on Bahia Beach in third. And down at the rail is Bahama Bound, Orbiston Parva, the early trailer in fifth as the field moves around the clubhouse turn. Love and Pride with the lead by a length over Indian Burn. The gray Bahia Beach races in third. And the opening quarter mile was run in 24 and 4/5 seconds. Now they're on the backstretch. Love and Pride leads by a half length. Indian Burn pushing the front runner along in second. 2.5 lengths to Bahia Beach in third. Orbiston Parva is now in fourth, and Bahama Bound trails midway up the backstretch. Love and Pride 3/4 of a length over Indian Burn. Bahia Beach down at the rail in third. The half mile went in 49 and 2, and there's less than a half mile to the finish. Love and Pride continues to lead. The favorite in front going into the far turn. Indian Burn runs in second. Bahia Beach and Orbiston Parva heads apart third and fourth. A break of 3 to Bahama Bound. It's Love and Pride with a new challenge here from Bahia Beach. Love and Pride at the rail. Bahia Beach in second. Orbiston Parva forced wide into the stretch. Then it's Indian Burn and Bahama Bound. And Love and Pride is clear. Clear by 5 lengths. Bahia Beach made a run at the front runner, but she could not keep up. And Love and Pride has opened up an 8-length lead. It's a Love and Pride and a big win in the affectionately. Bahia Beach second. Bahama Bound was third.
I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. The affectionately is for 3-year-olds and up fillies and mares, and no 3-year-olds in it. But Love and Pride made it look very, very easy for Todd Pletcher and Cornelio Velasquez, winning by 7 lengths, returning $3.90. Her first victory since the middle of August, winning the Proud Spell up at Saratoga. That wraps up this week's edition of Horses and Courses. And ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your week. We'll see you back here next Monday for the next edition of HNC.